Leavitt, the interim host of the Beauty Curley Show on the Howie Carr Radio Network, discussed the bombshell allegations laid out in an FBI FD 1023 form, which Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican Iowa, made public this week, with Breitbart News Washington bureau chief Matthew Boyle. The document, which refers to the big guy and dates back to June 30, 2020, alleges President Joe Biden and Hunter Biden each received $5 million from Mykola Zlochevsky, the founder of Burisma Holdings, after Joe Biden threatened to withhold aid to Ukraine until President Petro Poroshenko fired a prosecutor investigating Burisma, as Breitbart News politics reporter Wendell Husebo noted. Leavitt called it the most significant political scandal the United States has seen, dubbing it worse than Watergate. This is Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist stuff, but the mainstream media doesn't want to cover it. Our president is compromised by our enemies around the world and was involved in an international bribery scheme, she said. He and his corrupt crackhead son accepting $10 million from a corrupt Ukrainian, Mr. Z as I like to call him, the founder of Burisma, and that man is a corrupt and very bad man. But he was right about one thing, according to this 1023 document. It's that Hunter Biden is dumber than his own dog. These people don't respect Joe Biden and they were using him to funnel him cash, and he sold out the integrity of the United States and our national security in this bribe. It's really unbelievable. We've known this to be true for many years now, but to really see it in writing and to read this 1023 document is nevertheless shocking and disturbing, especially when you consider what Joe Biden and his corrupt Department of Justice are doing right now in pointing the finger at President Trump, Leavitt said. It's especially shocking when you think about the fact that they impeached Donald Trump for simply asking Zelensky about this corruption and trying to unveil the truth. They impeached him for wanting to get to the truth, while they pushed falsehoods and lies that he was colluding with Ukraine, and the whole entire thing is really mind-boggling. But the good news is, these truths are being revealed to the American public thanks to Senator Grassley, thanks to Donald Trump for pushing forward, and thanks to the brave whistleblowers who are coming forward to talk about the fact that our government has been complicit in these cover-ups, she added. Later in the conversation, Leavitt agreed with Boyle that Biden's Justice Department is being weaponized to muddy up Trump due to political problems surrounding the allegations of corruption and investigations by House Republicans. She contended that the latest indictment cover letter that Special Counsel Jack Smith's team gave to Trump's camp was to distract from the 1023 form. There are no coincidences in the swamp. The first federal indictment from Jack Smith and Merrick Garland, Joe Biden's henchmen, using the full department and the weight of the Department of Justice to target Donald Trump, that first indictment came hours after House Republicans revealed the damning evidence of the wire transfers, the money from the Ukrainian national into Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's bank account, Leavitt said. And now that second indictment, the target letter, was sent to President Trump on a Sunday night. Look, I worked in the Washington swamp for a couple of years. I can tell you bureaucrats don't work on Sundays. They clock out at 5 p.m., and then they rip the American people, taxpayers, off. But Jack Smith sent that letter on a Sunday night to get ahead of the release of the 1023 documents. It's all to muddy the waters, and it's to give the mainstream propaganda press another narrative to talk about, which they capitalized on after the target letter was sent to Donald Trump. CNN, MSNBC, the mainstream networks covered that 9 times more than they covered the House GOP Oversight Committee's hearings this past week, Leavitt added. In fact, ABC News World News Tonight, that hackery show, didn't even cover the House GOP Oversight Committee's hearing, so they need another narrative to push against Donald Trump to cover up for Joe Biden's crimes, but again, the people are seeing through it. Leavitt also responded to claims from some allies of Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican Florida, who have suggested that the Justice Department is pursuing charges against Trump because the left wants him as the nominee instead of the Florida governor. She called the claim ludicrous. The globalists and establishment elite, many of them DeSantis supporters, should take off their tinfoil hat when they're coming out with that one, because Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and Democrats want Donald Trump in jail, she continued. They don't want him to be the nominee. He's the only one that can beat Joe Biden, and that's exactly why they're doing this. Poll after poll shows Donald Trump is the only Republican that has a chance of being back in the White House. And they fear him not only because they know he can win again, but they fear him because they know he is the only candidate with the fortitude to continue to stand up to them and to expose the corruption at the highest levels of this government, with the Bidens, with the Clintons, with the corrupt deep state, and the billion-dollar war machine that wants to risk American lives and billions of taxpayer dollars to sell out our nation to the globalist elite. That's why they fear him. That's why they can't stand them. That's why they are doing everything they can to wage this political lawfare against him and put him behind bars.